Take it away. Tell us about it.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I'm Lauren Checkenow. I live in Candler Park with my husband, 8-year-old and 10-year-old. So we are, and puppy. So we are fully in it right now, feeling all the things. And I'm a wellness coach, primarily focused on, self-awareness, and I'm a, you know, member, a charter partner for Compassionate Atlanta. I'm a compassionate integrity facilitator, and I do human design readings, and I'm super excited to share the concepts of human design and explain how I find them, a tool for self-compassion and compassion for others. So I have a presentation. Let me just share my screen. Okay, cool. Did that work? Okay.
Yes.
So we can just go through, and since it's a small group, I'll no need to put anything in the chat box. We'll just, if you have any questions, just interrupt. So I think that the idea of human design is relatively new to people. It is, like Leanne said, starting to bubble up, and you start hearing it, spoken about. And so I'm excited to share some information about it. So human design is the science of differentiation and energy. And it's based on the idea that at birth, we were all imprinted with this unique manual or blueprint for living our most aligned life. So that is why you need the birth date, time, and location, because there is an astrology piece to it. There's the chakra system. There's the I Ching. There's an overlay of that. And there's also a piece that's the tree of life from Kabbalah. So there's some ancient, wisdom systems, and then it also is combined with astronomy and quantum physics and more modern sciences. And the whole idea behind human design is that, we have evolved as a species, and we used to be a mind-centered being. The ego was making all the decisions. It was, what took us from the fear center, where we were like really establishing, ourselves, to, creating community and communication and all the different things that the mind was used for. But now we've had this next layer of evolution where it's all about awareness, which is really in our body. And there's now this sort of push and pull where the ego and the mind wants to continue to tell us all the time what to do. But the idea is that our body, when we tap in, innately knows what the right thing is for us. And we just have to surrender to that and listen. And so because we're imprinted with this at birth, are more than 2 billion combinations. That's how specific and personal it can, and it provides so many layers of information for self-awareness, for leaning into your energetic gifts, for authenticity. It's just a really beautiful way to know yourself, like you do know yourself, but maybe have never seen before. So some of the benefits of human design, primarily, for me, I use it as a tool for, self-awareness, for compassion for myself. If I understand that this is who I am, I can accept myself, I can accept other people for who they are, not trying to change other people, and also not taking everything that happens to me so personally. Opportunity to reconnect with what truly brings you joy. And one of the things that I find so interesting is that, you know, depending on your design, and we'll get through some of the specifics, people have really become people pleasers, you know, again, depending on their design. And they've almost separated from what brings them joy and from what they enjoy. It only, their whole life ends up being about what they're doing for other people. And so when I ask people in sessions, you know, well, what do you like? And a lot of times people have just been completely disconnected from that. And it sort of shakes off the external conditioning that, you know, you can feel, because we're all different energetic beings. We're always exchanging energy with other people. And depending on your design, you can definitely be more sensitive in certain areas than other areas. Each person is beautiful and amazing. We all have these gifts that come so easily to us that we sometimes don't even recognize them as gifts. And I love being able to share with someone, you know, some of what you might consider soft skills, communication, you know, being the leader of a tribe, you know, retelling stories with wisdom. There's, you know, all these different beautiful things that we have that we either can't see because they just come so naturally that we've sort of discarded them as being valuable. Or sometimes people compartmentalize. So, well, I'm like this at work, and I'm good at this at home, and I'm good at this with my friends. And the idea is that when you're aware of your strengths, you're aware of your gifts, you're able to lean into them in all aspects of your life. We have areas of strength, which are consistent, reliable areas. And we also have areas where we have an openness, where we have a natural intuition, and we're here to sample from other people and gain wisdom from, you know, seeing what other people do and how other people operate. It can be very specific when you find out your energy type. There's best ways to work, best ways to sleep, how to manifest, how to engage with the world. There's things about digestion. It can be really laser focused. And I love hearing that when people find out about themselves, it really resonates with them. Oftentimes feel validated for the first time. They feel that they've been given permission to be themselves, which is really the most self-compassion that you can give yourself. And again, it takes the decision-making out of the ego and out of the mind, which is either telling you that you can't do something that you know you can, or that you can do something that you know you don't want to. So it takes that piece of it away. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. So when you enter in, does everybody, has anybody have their birth information with them?
I do.
Okay. So if you go to a website, you can go to mybodygraph.com. And if you don't have your birth time, you can still just enter your birth date. And if you know that it was morning or afternoon or evening, you can just plug in a number. It won't be completely accurate, but just for today's sake, you can use that as a placeholder. But if you go in there, you can fill in your information. It's completely free. And what pops up is this chart. So you'll see two pieces of it. There's the chart on your left, and then there's also your chart properties. So if I'm happy to pause for a second and see the other one. There's another site is, I'll type it in. It's jovianarchive.com. That's another one that I use. They're both the same company, but it just is displayed a little bit differently. Leanne, are you doing yours? No, I think she stepped away for a second.
I'm on the website right now and I'm signing up.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Jovian Archive is another easy one. It's free. You just go to get my free chart.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay, yay! This is so fun. um, I'll give everybody a minute to fill it in, and then I'll take you through it.
Hello, new person that just joined, Steve. We are trying to figure out or just kind of try out what we're kind of learning from Lauren right now. So click on one of the links in the chat and kind of create a quick account and try to figure out your human design in a way on that website. It's free. You just kind of need your birth date, possibly if you know your birth time, that would be great too. And if you have a question, just kind of unmute yourself or put it in the chat, and Lauren will clear up any confusion or anything. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Here.
Megan, did you get yours pulled up?
Yes. I was born in Toledo, Ohio, but for some reason Toledo always gives me a hard time. It's putting me in like Lucas, Toledo, and I have no idea what like Lucas is.
Oh, okay.
Just ignore me. I'm doing
Yeah, no, it's okay. So once everybody has it pulled up, I can go through some of the chart properties, and you know, again, there's so many layers to this, so I won't be able to go over all the details, but just to give you an idea about some of the higher level of the hierarchy, I think is really interesting.
I got it.
Steve, I just reposted the links. Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay. Leanne, you good?
She
I
said,
think you said yes, I think.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
So as Steve gets his pulled up, so the chart is called a body graph, and I'll go through that in a moment. The item on the right is what's your chart properties. So if you think about human design as sort of like a pyramid where the type is at the top, so that's like the biggest overarching idea of who you are. And as you go down, there's more and more choices and more layers of strategy and profile and definition and your you know, incarnation cross. So, and then I'll explain all the triangles that sort of look like, you know, chakra boxes, and there's numbers and colors, and it's I know it's a lot. So this is my chart, just so you see what it looks like. But here, let me go to the next slide. Oops. So the very first item is your energy type. So your energy type is basically the essence of your energy. So it really you operate, you know, based on this idea that we're all, you know, this auric frequency, this, you know, 3 to 6 foot, you know, energy field around us. And there's 5 main types, a generator and a manifesting generator, which kind of go together. There's a projector, a manifester, and a reflector. So I'd love if anybody wants to share what they pulled up.
I'll share because
Yeah.
super intrigued. So where would you like for me to start first, at the top?
Yeah, just what's your energy type? We'll just start there.
Okay. And my energy type, would that be at the top? Where would I find the energy type? Because
Yeah, it'll just say energy type. Let me see if I can.
Mine had a little type, and you had to click on it, and then it would tell you what it is, like a drop.
Oh,
down.
you have to go. Are you on the My Body Graph one? You have
Yeah.
to.
you can share my screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I stop share.
I wonder, am I able to share?
Let me.
The share screen button is at the bottom.
Did I stop? I stopped sharing, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the other one. Excuse me.
Hey guys.
Ah, now I totally lost the
Oh, I was sharing my screen.
Oh, okay. So go away from talking body graph to where it says My Body Graph. Oh wow, you are you're a reflector.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you and I have to talk separately, Megan. That's amazing. If you go to where it says chart properties
Mm-hmm.
and you click on that, it should all to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all your information.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You are the first reflector that I have met, because the reflector is the rarest type. So there's only 1% of the population, which is a reflector. So, and just to say from the outset, there's no good and bad. We are all designed exactly how we are supposed to be. There are some things that our society sort of dictates, which make it easier or more challenging for us to sort of get along based on external conditioning. So we'll go through all that. Leanne, what are you?
I'm a projector.
Oh, okay. Totally see that. Steve, were you able to pull yours up? Not yet. Okay. So basically, this is based on the idea that we are either energy types where we have our own self-generating energy, or we are non-energy types, which doesn't mean that we don't have energy. It just means that we use our energy and we borrow energy from others. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and see if that. Okay. Oh, now I have to go back through. Okay. So, and this is based on if you have your sacral defined or not. And there's the generator and the manifesting generator is about 70% of the population. The projector is about 25% of the population. Manifester is about 9% of the population, and the reflector is 1% of the population. So we live in many ways in a very manifesting generator society. It's a very much of like a builder, buzzing, work all day, wake up in the morning, have a fast, go, juggle a million things, get into bed, fall asleep, done, wake up in the morning, start all over again. So for many people, that feels great and that feels correct. But if you're in the other categories, a projector, a manifestor, a reflector, that might not feel so great. You might feel that you need to have more time for rest, to have more time for self-care, to have more time for studying, to have more time, for yourself. And that is completely correct for you. So one of the things, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to this chat. Was there something else added? Oh, manifesting generator. Okay, great. I'm a manifesting generator too. So one of the things that this means is that if you're running around all day, using your energy in a way that you're really not designed to, you can feel burnout, you can feel overwhelmed, you can get physically ill, you can certainly mental and other, pressures that you're feeling. And so, the idea number one is to learn your energy type, and then you can correctly follow your strategy. So each type has its own strategy. And what that means is that's the way that you're designed to engage with others. So if you are a generator and a manifesting generator, you're designed to respond to what's coming to you. If you are a projector, then you are to wait for the invitation. So you need to be recognized for your gifts and then invited in to be part of something. If you're a manifester, and we live in many ways in a manifestor strategy society with everybody saying, anything you want, you can just go, just do it, just make it happen, just, be out there doing all the things. But that's really only correct for a certain percentage of the population. So there's all these external factors that we sort of take on as the correct way to live and be successful. And this completely shifts this, it reframes it, it puts the power back on you as an individual and teaches you how to find success in the design that you are meant to live in. And if you're a reflector, your strategy is to wait for a lunar cycle.
I love the moon cycle.
Do you? Oh my God. See, that's amazing. So you are actually designed to wait a full 28 days before making any sort of major decisions, because you're so open and you see and absorb so much from other people around you that in order to sort of make sure that you're doing it based on yourself and not what you're picking up from everybody around you, that's your strategy. Any questions on this page? And I know I'm sort of giving top level, so when we really break it down. But I have a lot of people who I love and care about who are projectors, who are in jobs where they are just unhappy because they are just constantly grinding. They're just waking up, it's meeting after meeting, it's no time for rest, it's no time to sort of, think about their craft, to study, to research, to do the things that, fill up their cup. And, they definitely feel the physical effects. If you're a manifesting generator like me, you love the energy of having a lot of different balls in the air. You're made to sort of, go from thing to thing and not necessarily follow a linear path. But what happens is a lot of times the external conditioning tells us that we're non-committal, or we're flaky, or why can't we just pick something and stick with it? And when in actuality, following what we love is exactly what we're designed to do. We are designed to go from A to G to P to Q and not really know what the path is and not worry about it. And if you're a manifestor, then you are made to initiate. You are here to just shake things up. You have an idea, you go for it. those are the people that are really here to initiate and make everything happen. So the idea is, if we're all following our design, the manifester initiates the idea. The projector is a guide, is a mentor, is a leader, sort of tweaks the system, figures out the best way to do it. Leanne, I'm looking at you. The generator and the manifesting generator is here with all this, you know, creative buzz, energy to build and get it done, you know, and bring all their, you know, energetic gifts. And then the reflector is here to see it all, take it all in, be a mirror to us, to show us what's working, what needs to be done differently. And it's this really beautiful idea that if we're all living according to our design, then number one, we're doing the things that we're good at and that we enjoy, and we're letting the rest of it go. And so everybody has a place for themselves. Everybody can find what they love. We don't have to be good at all the things, you know. Every time you feel resistance, every time you feel like you're pushing the boulder up a hill, that is a sign that you are not following your design. Human design tells you that life should be easy, that life should be free from resistance, that when you have those moments where you feel like everything is landing in place, that it's just the flow of alignment, that is the magic that we're supposed to be feeling, you know, all the time. And that society has put so many things on us that makes us feel that we are supposed to be a certain way in order to be successful, in order to be full, in order to be complete, happy, all those things. And this, I love so much for letting us all be the beautiful individuals that we are and that we're meant to be. And you know, what works for me absolutely would not work for you, Megan, or you, Leanne, because we're different people. And so I shouldn't try to make you like me, and you shouldn't try to make you, you know, we should just be the best that we can be. And this gives you so many tools for understanding what that really is. So the next thing you'll see is your authority. So your authority is based on, again, your body and not your mind. And it's the best way for you to make a decision. And there's 7 different ones. So I'm not going to go through the details of them, but it's based on centers, which we'll talk about. And each one has, you know, these unique activation techniques or ways to sort of get in touch with it. You know, so for example, a lot of times people say, just go with your gut. What does your gut tell you? Well, that's great if that's the way you're supposed to be making decisions. So for me, I'm a sacral authority. That means that I have an inner knowing. I'll have a noise I make, like a or a yes, or or an opening or an expansion towards something, if energetically it's the right thing for me. If you're an emotional authority, you're meant to take time with something. Spontaneous decisions and making decisions from a high or low point is not correct from you. For you, you need that time for clarity to come. You know, there's some people that have, you know, ego or self where they actually need to say the words out loud in order to hear it and find it. There's some people like my reflector friend who have a lunar authority. You know, some people have an environment, which means that they really, and you might know people like this. These are the people that walk into a room and they're like, I don't want to sit at this table. I don't really like the way this room is laid out. Like they just have a sense that they pick up. And so to honor and respect that they need to feel comfortable in their environment and their surroundings to have, you know, be living according to their design. So again, just to summarize, there's 7 different centers. Each one has, you know, these specific elements to it. There's lots of, you know, variations, but, you know, going with your gut is right for, you know, one group of people. The rest of the people don't go with your gut. At least not initially. I'm checking on the chat. Oh, some is sacral is, what is that? You're questioning what that means?
Yes, that's my
Okay,
inner
so that's the
authority.
one that I just described. So that means that number one, so you're either a generator or a manifesting generator, right?
Yes, I'm a generator.
Okay. So that means that you do go with your gut. And for so many people, we've been taken away from that like bodily noise or sensation that we might feel. So there's ways to reactivate it, but you might find yourself, if somebody presents something to you and you want to do it, you might be, some sort of verbal affirmation that your body innately wants to make to let you know that it is the right decision for you, that you have the energy to do it. It could also feel like an opening or an expansion, or like literally like your body's almost like a pendulum and you're like coming towards something. If the answer is no, if Leanne says, don't you want to do this project? And you're like, mm. If you, that never happens, right? If you like, or you'll feel like a contraction or like a pulling back, your body knows if it's a yes, if it's a no. And if you don't have an answer, then the answer is no. It might not be no forever, but it's no right now. And again, the whole idea is that if we're saying yes to everything for everybody else, then where are we in that? Where are the things, when you're, if you believe, if your aura is full with all the shoulds and all the have tos and all the things that you said yes to for other people, then there is no space for the things that are meant for you, the things that really light you up, the things that will bring you alignment and joy. There's no space for those to drop in. So the idea is that you truly, truly tap in to what you feel, what your body is telling you. You say yes to those things and you say no to the rest. And it can be very scary, especially for a generator and a manifesting generator who loves to buzz around with all this busyness, to say no to something, because the idea of having nothing can sometimes be scarier than the idea of doing something, even if it's not what you want to do. But when you learn to trust your inner authority, you're setting up boundaries and you're telling the universe that I know what I want and send me more of the good stuff. Any other questions before we hop on to the next section? I'm just going to check our time. So this is the other part of the information that you get from my body graph or for Jovian Archive. And this is the body graph. And so each shape, there's 9 different shapes, represent a energetic and a different biological function. And so these energy hubs can either be white, which means that they're open or they're undefined, or they can be colored, which means that they're defined or closed. Those defined, closed, undefined, open are sort of used as interchangeable terms. And so when they're colored, and it doesn't matter what the color is, those are areas that you have a consistent, reliable energy. Those are areas where you're not subject to other people's, conditioning. You feel pretty strong in the way you feel about it. It's more your personality. It's who you are. It's like the core of like your being. Like, it's like, I know what I am in that area. I've got this. It's a very just like consistent energy. If you're white or open, and what that means is you have an inconsistent energy, meaning that you are here to use this intuitive sense that you will feel from being open. You're here to gain wisdom from being open in those areas, because when people interact, like we're always interacting, you're going to pick up definition from other people. And I'll talk later on about how when we come together, our charts change, and they're always changing, which is really cool. But so starting with the top triangle, that's your head, that's your inspiration center. The triangle going down is your ajna. So that's your mind. It's like your point of view in many ways. The brown square, which is, your communication, but also your manifestation center. And then the yellow triangle is your identity center. Then the little red triangle, I should have said yellow diamond. The little red triangle is your heart center, which is your ego and your willpower. And then the brown triangle, if it's colored in to you, that's pointing inward, is your spleen. That's your fear center. The red square, if it's colored in, is your sacral. So that's where, if it's colored in, that's your, your sacral definition. That's like that life force, creative energy. The triangle on the right that's pointed in is your emotional center. That's your solar plexus. And then the square at the bottom is your root center. So that's your momentum center. So each one of these has lots and lots of specifics that I can get into, but just to understand that most people have some combination of open and closed. If you're a reflector like Megan, you will have it all completely white and open. And there are some people that are completely defined. I have a client that I'm doing tomorrow that has everything filled in. But most people have some combination. And again, there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's just for you to know yourself, so that when you are with other people and having this constant exchange of energy, you are able to sort of learn the cues for like when you're picking up other people's energy. And is this what I'm feeling? Is this what I'm getting from somebody else? Because when you're open in an area, that is where you can pick up other people's feelings, but you also can magnify other people's emotions and feelings in that area. So that's something to work through. Any questions about this slide? Again, I know that this system could go on and on and on for years of knowledge. So I'm trying to give you like sort of the 101 level. The other thing that you will see is these numbers. And you'll see the colors that sort of like, connect things. If you have definition, those are called gates and channels. It's only to say that each one of those has a correlating gift. You can see the major themes in your life, your purpose, what you're here to do, how you're here to sort of, live your life in many ways. And one of the things of the many things that I love about this is doing something called connection charts, where when you run two people together, what happens is your charts change, right? Because I might have one piece and they have another piece. And so together we complete things. Which is why when you're with somebody and you might feel that like electromagnetic, connection, that's because you're completing something together. You might have somebody where they just always feel like it's got to be their way. Well, it might have to be their way because that's the way they're designed and that's the way you're designed. And so when you come together, someone is going to have that dominant way of looking at something. There's areas of compromise where you both have a piece of something and you have to sort of work together to figure out whose way is going to be the way that you choose. And then there's areas of companionship where I'm sure you have people in your life where it just feels like you see things exactly the way they do. And that's because you have pieces of your chart are exactly the same. So you have that, that commonality. So I love how much this allows us to work with friends and partners, both business partners, and looking at your children and your parents, and seeing in color printed out why you have challenging conversations with people and why some people seem to butt heads in certain ways, or why you feel this easy, beautiful flow with other people, or why when you're with somebody you always seem to have a heightened sense of anxiety. Well, that's maybe because your fear center is open and theirs is defined. So you're always going to be feeling their energy that they're putting out and magnifying it. If you have an open emotional center, then you can sense the emotions that everybody else is feeling. And if you aren't aware of that, then you hop on the roller coaster with them and you're riding up and down. And so, for example, my husband and I are both open. Both of my children are closed emotionally. So they are constantly on an emotional wave. And my husband and I have to say all the time, we do not need to get on their emotional roller coaster. Like, we can see it, we can identify it, we can be here to be, a support and help them, but we do not need to feel all the feelings that they're feeling, which is what our bodies, want to do if we're not careful. So again, each one of these areas has all kinds of specific information and different ways to sort of help you navigate, your openness and also your definition. Because again, all of our charging, depending on who we're with, because we're always putting out energy and we're always picking up energy. Any questions? I feel like I'm like going on and on and on. I could talk about this for hours.
No, you're good.
Megan, Leanne, Steve, anything?
I mean, it's a ton of information,
Yeah.
and it's like, are we able to read this graph on our own? I mean, it sounds like we need some kind of an expert to say, okay, these are what my chart looks so different than yours. Like,
right.
I'm up at the top, I'm yellow and green, I think. And then, there are other things that aren't lit up where yours are,
Right.
And so it's just a lot of information, but I really do hear what you're saying because, I think there are different ways, different things in the world that have taught me over time. I used to be like, many, many years ago at work, we did a Myers-Briggs test,
Mm-hmm.
the personality type thing. And I was like, oh, I hate this stuff, right? And then I took it and I was just, so for the Myers-Briggs, there's actually there's a little thing called a Myers-Briggs prayer. And if you look it up online, it'll tell you like what your prayer is. And my prayer was, please God, let me concentrate on just one thing oh, look, there's a bird. And I mean, when I read that, I was like, oh my God, it's not on my fault.
Right.
And so I know this is different. I think it's a different way to read the energy. It's a different way to look at who you are in the world. Instead of looking at questions that we answer, it's looking at other things. But it truly changed me when I did that. And so even studying the Enneagram and things like that, it's fascinating to me how when we understand each other better, and like what you said before, when we understand the people around us, like sometimes I will ask Gunna Work to do some things. And like for me, it's like a no big deal. And she's like, why don't you do that?
Right. Good for you, Gunna Work.
She's like, I never do that. But I realized
speaking in front of people stuff that
yeah.
Right. But what a beautiful thing for somebody to know themselves and say, I don't have the energy for this, number one. This doesn't feel good to me. This isn't in my wheelhouse, whatever it is. And then for you as, you know, a partner, a work partner, a boss, a friend, to honor and respect and say, you know what, this isn't right for them. I'm either going to do it because it's right for me, or I'm going to leave it open and the right person at the right time is going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not that perfect. I push her sometimes.
No, Leanne is pretty good about the way she asks me like to do stuff, or she's like, do you want to? Or like the way she asks, like she's like taking into consideration, like if you might say no, it's like, it's fine. Like it's not like you must. It's more of like, here's a chance to do something new or something like that. So no, don't worry, you're cool.
Well, thank you. But I do,
really
I
cool
like,
team building tool.
yeah. Yeah, and I just think that this has so many different ways. Like it's got a lot of jam-packed stuff in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you see it. It is a lot, and it can be overwhelming. You know, I'll go through some offerings that I have, but you know, basically, you know, knowing your energy type and sort of understanding that is like the first and easiest thing to sort of, you know, follow. And then, you know, your strategy and your authority, because if you have those things sort of lined up, the rest of the stuff does, you know, sort of fall into place. But it takes practice. And the idea is that it's just, you know, like we talk about, you know, progress over perfection, you know, and compassion. It's just one aligned decision at a time. You know, it's like you have to trust, you have to surrender. You know, it takes that ability to, you can only make the next right decision for you. And in some ways, that could be terrifying if you're a planner and you like to know how it all is going to end. But in other ways, if you're able to look at it as this amazing freedom, if I'm not thinking 400 steps ahead and all I'm doing is right now, wow, that feels great. Wow, I can be in the moment. Like I'm so present because this is the only thing that I'm choosing about. How do I feel right now? And that's it. So, some things that I have put together because of this very unique time that we're living in. I normally do readings that are, you know, about 75 minutes long. But I wanted to put together something that was a shorter time commitment and also at a lower price point. So something that I've put together is this idea of these intention setting offerings. So there's 3 different ones that I created. There's one on finding purpose, where you really, you know, get clarity on your gifts and understand your purpose according to human design. And, you know, I can share with you based on your design, you know, how to best manifest, you know, and best ways to work. And then there's harmony. So for those of us who are now with our people all the time, this is really great to, you know, understand your own areas of strength and then look at, you know, family dynamics and how to sort of navigate things, you know, from a place of compassion. And then healing. So this is really about, you know, self-care and then understanding the fear and emotional centers, because those 2 centers right now are feeling so much and taking on so much, and just sort of like how you process those and sort of digging into those. So that's my little pitch on that. And, you know, just final thoughts, as I've said, you know, we're all everything, because it's constantly changing based on who we're with. You know, there's no good or bad, but, you know, when you dig into it, you will start to understand like the lower and higher vibrational, you know, things that come up. You know, it's just a fact of life that there are going to be, you know, the ego is going to stay involved. We have to keep pushing through that. There's going to be people who, you know, we interact with who are going to trigger us to feel certain ways. And so, you know, like I said, honor your energy type, your strategy, and your authority. That's the priority. And this is a long process, but with each decision, you feel more grounded, more free, more authentic. You know, it's just, I have seen so many amazing changes in myself and dealing with my family. You know, I feel in many ways that I have accepted who I am like never before. You know, I think that we all have a story that we tell ourselves about who we are, positive, negative, based on the conditioning and around us. And for so many ways, this validates that piece of you that you knew was there and you knew was right, but you let other people tell you was wrong. So I'm obsessed with it. What else can I answer as we
There's a question that says, what does the not self theme mean?
Oh, okay. So the not self theme means when you are not following your design, that's the feeling that you are going to have. So if it's, I think yours is frustration probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So frustration meaning when you find yourself saying, oh, so frustrating, like, oh, that feeling of frustration, resistance, and it can be sort of like a low level, or it could be like, oh my goodness, this is so frustrating. That is your cue that like something's off. Like you're not following your design. Like you said yes to things you shouldn't have. You know, you're magnifying other people's feelings and you're letting that sort of, you know, shape you and mold you outside of, you know, the way that you are designed to be. Okay. On the flip side of that, everybody has a signature, meaning that when you are living in alignment and you're feeling that flow, that will be the feeling that you will have. So yours is satisfaction gonna work. So frustration is your not self, satisfaction, and it's satisfaction meaning it's just that feeling of just like, I don't know, just like that juicy groove of like, it's all good. Will be the feeling that you feel if that resonates with you.
Yeah, I think after even like looking at all of like the type, the strategy, the not self theme, I was like, I saw frustration. I was like, maybe we should add stress to that. But yeah, like I'm an Aries, and so some of like the characteristics of an Aries really resonate with me. Mm-hmm. And so like it's really interesting when these type of like findings and properties that I can look into and see, oh, like what is this about me? Like let me just put in like I was born in Ethiopia, so I was putting in like the birth time like there and here. Like here it would be like 7 p.m. and it would be 1 a.m. there. And so, or 1 p.m. or it was 1 on the birth certificate. But when I did the human design for both times, and the results were pretty the same anyways. Mm-hmm. Maybe like
yeah, it should automatically adjust the time to wherever you're born.
Yeah.
And the reason that you need that is because if you look at your chart, there are each one of those you know, symbols has like a planet or like a north-south node. There's like all, because it is based partially on what was happening astrologically at that time, and each one of those has its own you know, theme to it, so you can go really, really deep with that if astrology is something that you're interested in.
To a certain point, sure.
I know everyone
get like some facts about me, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty similar, and then I just kind of move on.
Yeah, and the same with this. If you know, when something resonates with you, you know, if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and that's okay. You know, I would encourage you to dig a little bit and see, you know, if it doesn't resonate with you, is it because you've been conditioned away from that? Is it because, you know, like I had somebody and they were emotional and they were like, I don't feel emotional at all. And then they were like, you know, when I was younger, I was really taught that emotion was not good. And I was not to be emotional. And I'm like,
Yeah. Like,
So, you know, you sort of pick through it a little bit.
yeah, emotions and like being vulnerable is kind of a weakness. Like, well, some people think it might be, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
Yeah. Steve, did you have any questions from chat that I can answer? Or Leanne, Megan, any other questions?
Well, I am definitely going to schedule a session. I am. I honestly, I haven't been able to do a lot of things that I would do on a normal basis when we're not in social distancing. And so I've been in a space that I think I'm on just, we'll talk about it offline, but I'm excited and I'm willing to do the session. So
Yeah, this is a very interesting time for everybody. But for someone like you who's so open, who's feeling, your gift is that you are feeling what we're all feeling. You're feeling the collective right now in a way that few people will understand. And so, you know, I would just offer, you know, I'm super excited to chat with you, but just all the things you're feeling are exactly who you are. And I know it probably feels like a lot at certain times, but that's your gift to share with us.
when you told me I was a reflector, I was like, let me go back and check everything is right. Is it right? And I actually know like my time of birth and everything because I do like astrology work on the side. But yeah. So I was like, dang, why have to be something different? But it's okay.
That's amazing. I mean, well, we're all different. There's 2 billion different combinations. So that's how different we all are. But no, and I love that too, that it's like this, it is who we are. And the more we know and can live authentically, the more we embody who we were truly meant to be, the more we let other people know it's okay, the more we share that gift. And, you know, we're all resilient. We're all, you know, compassionate. And, you know, we all have these gifts of empathy that we, you know, hopefully will feel comfortable sharing with each other.
Absolutely.
So thank you all. I know it's time. Lauren, thank you for your time. I want to leave on this note of deconditioning is a process, as your last bullet says. Thanks, Steve, for being here. Thank you, Megan. And I think we decondition ourselves. I think this whole process of being part of the coronavirus time frame is deconditioning ourselves. It's really a time and a space like no other. And so how do we find our inner gifts? And looking within and really appreciating everything that makes us different and unique and special, and then how do we honor those? So thank you, Lauren, who has a lot of different gifts, and I appreciate all the knowledge that you've shared with us, because it is kind of complicated stuff, but energizing at the same time. So thanks for joining us. We'll have more Compassionate Atlanta Zoom calls coming up. Stay tuned on social media, and good luck with the rest of your day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great being with you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.